Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Where in the world am I? Am I in Hollywood? I mean, that is Grauman's Chinese Theater. No, I am actually in Orlando at Walt Disney World here at Hollywood Studios and just having a little bit of a Christmas vacation. Vlogmas was brutal, so it's really good to get a break. We're tired, and so we just thought we'd do some theme parks and check out some Central Florida. But today I've got an awesome show for you. You're not going to want to miss it, guys. Welcome to Record-ology! And that was an awesome trip, you guys. We got back recently. We rang in the new year in Orlando. It was just fun. We drove all over Florida. It was great. By the way, Rise of the Resistance in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was fantastic. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, YouTube search Rise of the Resistance if you're a Star Wars fan. It's indescribable, that ride experience. Indescribable.
It's a prisoner transfer. Did it work? Good. Now get a move on.
But you need to check that out. But we're back, and we are in the midst of January, and we're digging our heels in, getting back into all things vinyl, turntables, records, tech, stuff like that. Hear a little jingling off there. It's my snarky bird who is bound and determined to make noise. So I apologize. Even though I did put the blanket over his cage to kind of quiet him up. All right. We are here looking at the V1 music system again from Victrola. We did a recent review on this. It didn't do so well. So I thought we'd give it another try because I made some mistakes. One of them is occurring as we speak, and that is having the sub on the same playing surface as the turntable. It makes sense to not do that. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to listen to it as is with, fresh ears, 2022. And then we are going to take this cartridge, and I have two of them because if you remember the cartridge, which looks very similar, I will say it looks very similar to one that Georgia Curry Vinyl reviewed that you can get on Wish. It's a magnetic cartridge, but it's, very, very basic. In fact, so basic that in order to change the stylus, you have to replace the entire cartridge. Anyway, this looks similar. This is branded as Victrola, although inside, who knows? So what we're going to do is this. It still has the stock cartridge on there. We're going to listen to it as is with the sub on a different playing surface. I'm going to set it down on a stool by the camera so you can hopefully get some benefit. Then I'm going to put a good cartridge on this. Then I'm going to take this cartridge, actually probably the actual one on there, and put it on the LP3. So we're just going to try and isolate. Is the issues with the cartridge? Is it really the turntable? How will this cartridge perform on a different turntable, etc.? So, all right, let me get configured here. I'm going to put the sub in a good spot, and we'll listen to some music and judge for ourselves. The subwoofer, by the way, is an 80-watt subwoofer. That's definitely my favorite thing from this entire system. I've had it hooked up to my main stereo system because the Fluon speakers have a sub out, and boy, is it nice. It rounds out the sound very, very nicely. So it is off camera down to the left, and it should be close enough that you can get some benefit from that. So I was listening to this turntable again today for a while, and I'm just like, let's give it another shot. Let me give it a fair chance. Everybody deserves a second chance. So the V1 is no different. Victrola has done some amazing, cool stuff, especially that Revolution Go that we reviewed recently. That's an awesome portable turntable, one of the best ever. And why did this bomb so hard? It really surprised me. But again, what I keep hearing is this crushed highs. Like they sound really crushed. Now, as we've talked about before, in its bare essence, a turntable is nothing more than a thing that spins a record, and what you're really listening to is the cartridge. Now, this does have built-in amplification and speakers in the subwoofer, so there's more to it. But our issue may just be that cartridge. But for $500, again, I think they should come with a better one. But let's listen a little bit. This is Lady Gaga. So it's going to be very much, I have to do very short clips of audio with this record. We'll listen to some other records too, But I wanted to give you a sound, because another criticism I get all the time is, well, you just listen to that old music. If you even Victrola was like, if you played some modern music, it would probably sound better. So this is Lady Gaga. This is pretty modern. It's about 10 years old, but to me, that's pretty modern. I would argue that new music doesn't necessarily sound better, but we're going to go with that idea for now and just listen to a modern record. And again, I'm only going to be able to share like 3-second clips, and I'm going to do a few different songs, but listen to the high end. Listen to those upper frequencies. To me, they sound crushed. The bass and everything is full. It's nice. It's good to have bass, but there's more to it, right? We want to hear that high end. I forgot to turn the subwoofer on. Okay, the subwoofer's on. And I'm going to switch to the stereo mic on the front. Another criticism that remains for me is the fact that they sell this thing as your all-in-one entertainment center for your TV kind of area, because it's got this sound bar built in, it's got the subwoofer, but there's no stereo separation because the speakers are so close together. So, even my TV speakers are going to be having better stereo separation than this. But again, there we go. Okay, switching to the front-firing mics, let's listen.
Oh, yeah.
So you hear that like really scratchy upper end.
With your signature right here, like I just a dotted line, and I'm supposed to slide. How she added a phonetic.
The bass is good. It's got good low end, but that high end. See how shaky I am? This is why I love cueing levers, because my ability to gently lower is not that great. But this has a really slow descend, so it takes like 5 seconds for it to go down. So we're going to just cue it up manually.
All we want is hot.
It sounds like digital compression on the high end.
I do not accept any less than some.
So that's a bummer. Like, what the heck? You know what I mean? That's no good. Those upper frequencies should not sound that distorted, so compressed. Okay, so that's just preliminary, kind of what I was hearing earlier today. For our actual test, so we can actually listen to some content that's longer than half a second, I'm putting on the Future Sound Shock record again. I always get questions, what is that record? I need this music in my life. It is Enoch Light and his orchestra, or Enoch Light and the Light Brigade is what it's called. And I know I use this a lot. It's a quad disc, so if you have a quad system, then you get that all decoded. But it's perfectly compatible with the stereo turntable as well. And it sounds so good. And YouTube allows me to stay monetized while using this music. So for that reason, it gets a lot of airtime. Here is the cover. It is beat up. This cover is beat up. The label is ripped up. The record itself is in fantastic condition. But this album, you guys, is really good. Look how dirty it is. It is all water damaged and warped. I don't even keep the record in there because it's so warped. But this record is fantastic. And the song that I use a lot of is One Note Samba. Yep, there it is. So I'm going to try and use some other stuff today. But I just wanted to point that out because people ask me about it all the time. This was a gift, and it is a wonderful, awesome thing. If you, even without a quadraphonic system, if you sit down and really listen to this, the stereo separation is insane. So it works as a really good demo disc. So let's, again, I want to give everything the best chance possible. So I'm going to clean the stylus real quick here. Make sure that there's no gunk on there. I'm going to clean the record too. So I'm going to use a carbon fiber brush real quick and just give that the once over lightly treatment. I always run this over to the spindle too, so we can ground out any static. And we should be good to go. So let's listen to a different track than we normally do. But again, listen for that high-end audio. To me, it's crushed. To me, it's compressed, not in a digital compression sense, but as in a acoustic, deformation compression type of way. So switching to the front-facing mic, and we will give it a little bit of a listen. So you can hear that clearly. I think you would agree with me. Let me know down in the comments below, by the way, on any of this stuff if I'm wrong. So what we're going to do, while that's fresh in your mind, I am now going to change out the cartridge, because I have a feeling this is the culprit, is the cartridge. So what we're going to do is we are going to put on the AT95E cartridge. Wow, that thing is dirty. Look at that. That's embarrassing. I was playing a dirty record, I guess, on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on this cartridge. It's about a $50 cartridge. This is probably my favorite Audio-Technica cartridge that I have ever heard. And again, only 50 bucks. It's a budget cartridge, but it sounds so phenomenal. So I'm going to put this cartridge on and we'll play that same passage that we just listened to and see if those high ends improve at all. A rookie mistake, you guys. I was using my fingers to pull these off instead of something like this, some pliers or something, some needle nose pliers. And I stripped this. So it's too tiny to work with outside of soldering this back on. So that's what we're going to do next. And I don't have enough hands to film that. So we're just going to jump in there and get her done. I was actually able to position it in such a way that we can share in this moment together. I need to get in there and do that a little bit better. But that's the essence of why you do not want to use your fat fingers to pull those things off. Okay, we've soldered the connection back on. We've put on the AT95E. I did a quick test to make sure it was wired correctly. And I also set the tracking force to the correct value, 2 grams for this. I actually had to loosen a nut on the side of this weight back here to get it to move because they had it statically set to the other cartridge. No big deal. I'm going to quickly clean the cartridge. We'll clean the record again to run off any static. And then we will go to town and see if it still has those crushed highs or if it sounds better. Now, I forgot to include the lift when I was wiring or when I was putting those screws back in. So no harm, no foul. The tracking force is accurate, and I am going to just let it fall by force of gravity there really quickly. It's kind of a bummer because I wanted the time between the first cartridge and this one to be quick, so it was like, you know, in your memory what that sounded like, but replacing cartridges is never fun. I don't like doing it. It's a hassle. Okay, so here we go. This is the exact same setup with a good cartridge. And let's see if it sounds any better. It sounds awful. It sounds terrible, you guys. It sounds worse than their other cartridge. So maybe this is outputting a higher voltage than the stock cartridge, perhaps, but it sounds worse in every way. So now I'm thinking it's the turntable. Maybe the cartridge isn't so bad. So what are we going to do now? We're going to try the V1 Music System cartridge on my LP3 and see if it sounds okay. Okay, guys, welcome into the Holy of Holies. This is my audio setup, my daily driver, as I always say, my beautiful LP3. I don't know how I feel about it. It has this cartridge that's, you know, we've had issues with it and it's on here, but we know that we've got known values here. We've got a good record. We've got a good turntable. I'm using my beautiful Fluence powered speakers. I am using the amplifier or the subwoofer off camera on the floor. You can actually see it in the bottom left-hand corner there. And we're just going to give it a listen and see. We've eliminated the turntable now. So we eliminated the cartridge and still had problems. So it's leading to, surprisingly, I really didn't expect this, that the issue might have been the turntable and not the cartridge. Final verification will be if this sounds good or if we still have those crushed high ends. So without further ado, here we go. And I am going to manually cue this. So what do you guys think? You know, I'm still not convinced that I know what the problem is here. Maybe both of them have issues, but at first, my first thought when I put the V1's cartridge on the LP3 was that, oh, it sounds fine. The cartridge is okay. You know, it's a cheap cartridge, but it's not, you know, bad. But then I started hearing those crushed high ends again. So maybe it's a combination of the two. And when we put the Audio-Technica cartridge on the V1, the high ends were even worse crushed, and even the mids were crushed. And now the cartridge may be putting out a different voltage level that, you know, this unit is just, it's too much for it. I don't know. But, and I also tried wiring the cartridges, you know, a couple different ways to see if that was the issue, and that really didn't make any difference. So I think the weakest link is the turntable. Now, this kind of goes against what I usually say in terms of turntables just spin a record and you're really listening to the cartridge. But when this has all the built-in circuitry for the amplifier and the speakers and the subwoofer that, you know, it's coming out of the record player as well, there's more to it. So there's a possibility that circuitry in there is introducing some issues. Now, I want to point out too, I just want to throw it out there that Victrola, when they saw our initial review, said that they believed that we possibly could have received a faulty unit. If you remember, this was the very first unit. So it's possible we got a pre-production run unit that hadn't been QC'd. I'm putting that out there as a possibility. So, you know, if they choose to send another one, we'll give it another listen, a third try. We've done it before. We gave Crosley 3 tries with that. Was it the Revolution, where the lid wouldn't, you know, allow this? It was rubbing on the record. So, you know, we've done it before. We'll do it again. But interesting. What do you guys think? It's kind of like we did some, you know, testing together today, and I'd love to know your comments down below. Things I should try again, things I did right or wrong, verify or validate, you know, my perceptions here. I would be very, very curious. You guys know so very much. But that's going to do it for today. If you want more content, we do 2 shows a week. If you want a third show, we do a third show on Fridays, but you have to be a member of the Vinyl Nation in order to get that show and other perks, including badges, exclusive live chats, and things like that. If you want to join the nation, the link is down below. But that's going to do it for now, guys. We'll see you next time.